Hi guys, my name is Chris and you're watching Wrestling Today, so let's start with WWE Survivor Series. WarGames 2024 goes down in history from Rogers Arena in Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada. The show kicked off with Rhea Ripley and her babyface team of Bianca Belair, Sky, Bayley, and Naomi defeated Women's World Champion Liv Morgan, WWE Women's Champion Jax, Candice Raquel Rodriguez, and Miss Money in the Bank Tiffany Stratton in the opening match of Survivor Series in a WarGames match. Bayley and Jax squared off to open the match, but the babyface team had the advantage and Naomi was the first woman in. Naomi brought in weapons, including a kendo stick and a toilet seat. Candice jumped in front of Stratton to be the first heel competitor to join her team inside the cage. Next was Belair, who spent a lot of time on the outside bringing in weapons, including a fire extinguisher. Stratton was next, followed by Sky, who grabbed a painted trash can. Sky immediately climbed the cage and Candice met her up top. Rodriguez was the next woman in for the heels. Ripley then got into the match, and fought 4-on-1 after the heels took out her entire team. Morgan was next to enter, and grabbed a baseball bat from backstage before entering to officially start the match. Morgan pulled out a pair of handcuffs and attempted to cuff Ripley to the ropes. Sky and Stratton scaled opposite corners of the cage, and Sky covered herself in a trash can to hit a moonsault from the top, and Stratton followed with a swanton bomb. Stratton got the MITB briefcase from another trash can, and stood over Jax and Morgan, who were laid out on the mat. Sky interrupted by spraying a fire extinguisher, while Ripley handcuffed Rodriguez in the corner. Morgan hit a codebreaker to Ripley and laid her out on a table and went up top, but Ripley followed. Ripley hit a riptide and sent Morgan crashing through the table and pinned her to win. The second match was Nakamura reappeared on WWE programming on the November 15th episode of WWE SmackDown, promising to take away everything that United States Champion LA Knight had to offer. At Survivor Series, Nakamura kept his word, and walked out of Vancouver as the new United States Champion. From the beginning of the match, it was clear that Knight was off of his game. Knight failed to deliver any meaningful offense to the challenger in the early goings of the match, and fell victim to Nakamura's infamous brutal strong style several times over the contest. The two fought back and forth, with Knight only able to score a near fall after landing an inverted burning hammer late in the match. Cole noted that Knight could not get anything going, and things finally unraveled for the megastar after a trip to the outside. With Knight aching and helpless, Nakamura closed in on the champion like a predator, and nailed Knight in the back of the neck with a Kinshasa to claim the United States Championship. With his victory, Nakamura ended LA Knight's first main roster title reign. Knight held the United States Championship for 119 days, having dethroned Logan Paul for the gold at SummerSlam 2024. Nakamura is set to begin his third reign as the United States Champion, with a combined 159 days as champion from his first two reigns. No challengers appeared in the aftermath of the title bout. As of this writing, Nakamura's first challenger remains undisclosed, though a rematch with the former champion is always a strong possibility. The third match was Braun Breaker retained his Intercontinental Championship in a triple threat against Sheamus and Kaiser at WWE Survivor Series, WarGames. The Intercontinental Champion was defending against Sheamus and Kaiser after the latter got involved in his previous title defense. This was the latest attempt for Sheamus in his career goal of winning the one title he needs for the WWE Grand Slam, and an attempt for Kaiser at winning his first WWE singles title after Gunther called on his ward to make a name for himself. At stages they both looked to have the bout won, with Sheamus delivering an Irish cross to Breaker for a close near fall. He then took Breaker up the ropes for an attempted avalanche move, but Breaker reversed out of it and landed a Frankensteiner off the top, setting up for a spear. However, he runs straight into a steel chair wedged in the opposite corner, Sheamus sidestepping the spear and lining Breaker up for a brogue kick. Alas, once more the count was interrupted, but this time by Kaiser pulling the referee out of the ring. Kaiser would continue to try and take the match for himself, but turned into a flying spear from the champion, sending him flying out of the ring to leave Breaker and Sheamus alone. Breaker then hit Sheamus with a final spear, getting the pinfall and title retention. The fourth match was Gunther is still World Heavyweight Champion, thanks to a little help from Judgment Day's Finn after he defeated Damian Priest at Survivor Series WarGames. The story going into the match was that Gunther appeared to have lost a bit of his confidence, and Priest had the upper hand in their brawls over the last few weeks. After the bell rang, Gunther almost immediately took a break outside of the ring after dodging a kick from Priest. He slid out of the ring again and stared down his opponent from the outside. Once the match finally got fully underway, the pair fought an evenly matched battle, though Gunther dodged Priest at the beginning. Priest got the upper hand and looked for a razor's edge, but his left shoulder, which Gunther targeted earlier in the match, gave out, and the champion was able to get out of Priest's grasp. Gunther attempted to get Priest in a sleeper hold, but powerbombed him instead. Priest looked for a South of Heaven, but Gunther countered again after Priest's arm gave out again. Gunther locked in a Kimura lock, but Priest didn't tap. The champion went to the top rope with Priest and looked for a superplex, but Priest countered, but ended up falling to the outside. Finn then appeared, seemingly from the crowd, and came off the ring steps to deliver a stomp to his former friend. Gunther got Priest back in the ring, powerbombed him, and put him in a sleeper hold. Priest passed out and Gunther was declared the winner. The final match was after months of build. Roman Reigns led the original Bloodline and CM Punk against Solo Sikoa's new Bloodline at Saturday's WWE Survivor Series WarGames event. In the main event spectacle held within the confines of the titular double cage, it was Reigns' team that relished in the victory of a war won after the original Tribal Chief pinned Sikoa after he took multiple consecutive finishers. Before all participants had even joined the ring, there was drama unfold. The first four entrants, Jay Tama Tonga, Bronson Reed, and Jimmy, escaped their shark cage and ran to the ring without conflict, but as Tonga Loa attempted to enter the match, Sikoa stopped him. Sikoa backed up Jacob Fatu to enter the ring in a strategic act that saw the original Bloodline's team decimated by the Samoan Werewolf. In a similar fashion, Reigns exercised his authority by preventing Punk from entering after Fatu, electing instead to send out hometown favorite Sami Zayn. While Loa eventually entered the match, tensions within the original Bloodline flared as Punk entered himself into the match, unceremoniously shoving Reigns in the process. Punk's move allowed for Sikoa, the final entrant for the new Bloodline, to lock the cage upon entry. Sikoa stared arrogantly at Reigns as the final participant of WarGames approached the ring, but his strategic move unraveled before his eyes as Reigns scaled the WarGames cage in order to enter the match. Reigns' first move saw him perform a crossbody onto the new Bloodline's members as the WarGames match officially started. Upon his entry, Reigns helped every original Bloodline member to their feet, but expressly ignored Punk. Paul Heyman appeared, desperately pleading for Reigns and Punk to coexist just until the end of WarGames. Their attempts at alliance quickly vanished as Reigns accidentally speared Punk just moments later. The violence continued to unfold, with the new Bloodline's early dominance slipping quickly. Fatu attempted to moonsault off the top rope, but slipped during takeoff and clutched his knee during landing. Whether Fatu is legitimately injured is unknown. Reed nearly put Reigns through a table with a tsunami, but Punk swiftly pulled Reigns from the impact zone just before Reed drove his body through the table. On the other side of the cage, Jimmy put Jacob Fatu through a table Sikoa, who was now standing alone. As Sikoa was confronted, 5-on-1. Sikoa took finisher after finisher, with a GTS spear combo from Punk and Reigns finally ending the match. While the original Bloodline was victorious in their match, Michael Cole noted that Sikoa still owned the Ula Fala, and was still technically considered the Tribal Chief. As Punk left the cage, he reminded Heyman of a favor that was now owed. The show closed out with Punk amicably beside the original Bloodline as fireworks lit up Vancouver. Did you guys enjoy Survivor Series WarGames? Thanks guys for watching and please subscribe.